the very 33rd hour of Adventurers Wanted Rebellion. There we are. My name is Leo, and I'll be your game master for this hour and indeed this morning. Now, this is a relaxed performance, which means we will have a relaxed attitude to sound and movement from the audience for the benefit of people who would struggle to stay still or silent for the entire hour. The lights will stay exactly like this, and there should be no loud noises, should they, James? No. Although there will be some mood music. If you do feel like you need a break, please feel free to duck out and rejoin us when you feel you're ready. We're also very proud to be joined this morning, this hour, by Tommy, our excellent BSL interpreter, who, round of applause, who somehow manages to continually sign for improvised fantasy. Don't know how he does it. So if you don't know what this is a tabletop role-playing game, which means that the four people on my left and right all control individual, unique characters in a fantasy setting. As the games master, I control the fantasy setting, the weather, the antagonists, and indeed sometimes the woodland creatures that they've been talking to. Don't ask me why. To try and keep things fair, we interact with each other using dice, the most commonly used one being the D20 or 20-sided die. High numbers are good, low numbers are bad. If you roll a 1 on this dice, it's an absolute categorical failure, no matter what you were trying to do and how easy it should have been. That can lead to some hilarity. So, if you do have any questions, we do try and skate over the maths because we're aware it's not the most thrilling bit of it. But if you do have any questions, do give us a shout from the audience. That's fine. So the story so far, the four players here are controlling characters that have been members of a rebellion. For the last 5 years, an imperial cult has enslaved their entire world and has forced them to mine a mysterious ore, which they are just coming to grips with. They very recently overthrew the rebellion, united the local area.
Overthrew the cult, you mean?
Sorry, they overthrew the cult. Thank you, Vivek. And led the rebellion to the capital city of Goldcrest and overthrew them there. Yesterday, they went out in search of some more villages to liberate and came across an incredibly sad scene in the township of Glen, about 15 miles from the capital. They found the entire township massacred, and they eventually found out that that's because they had been mining too greedily and too deep, the Imperial cult had, and had found a short passage to some monsters down below. There was quite a bit of tragedy, and an important part was that a particular character, Mary, was spooked by some ghosts and managed to blow herself up, along with a large collection of this ore, which is, now we know, highly explosive. We'll get right back into it in a moment, but first, why don't we meet our players and their characters? So, starting with yourself, James, tell us your name.
James.
And give us your characters' names, your pronouns, and a little bit about where they are at the moment.
So my character's name is Locke. He is a tiefling, which is like a little demon thing with a tail.
It's not that little.
A little compared to the big demons. He's a warlock and has cripplingly low self-esteem due to his constant critical miss rolling, which I've done at least 3 per game so far. So look forward to that. And it's he, him.
He, him. Fantastic.
Hey there, I'm Chaz and I'm playing Kid Matt John, also he, him pronouns. Kid Matt John, he's a paladin, but more importantly, he's a furbolg, which means that he is 7 foot tall, he has blue skin, and he has bovine features, so the big ears and a little cow nose. He's a cow person, he's a 7 foot blue cow person. And he speaks in a Minnesotan accent. Somehow that exists.
Fantasy Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. And his friendly demeanor hides an insatiable bloodlust.
Fantastic.
So my name is Vivek, and my character's name is Markson Ingot. He is a communist dwarf barbarian, goes by Marks for short. Thank you. Both my character and my pronouns are he, him.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm Harley. My character's called Greaseball. Thanks, Gina. They're a goblin bard. They, them pronouns, also me. Because I'm a bard, I like to try and seduce things.
Wow, that's the character introduction.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Serious time. So,
For now.
for now. So, the party is reeling somewhat from the fact that in the last hour or so they've lost two of the rebellion, the two first major losses that we've had over the entire rebellion. I mean, they had caught the cult with a certain amount of complacency, and the battles have been fairly easy up until this point. Some members of the council, including the dwarf Broldrin, who is very gruff, carries her battle axe everywhere. The elf ranger Ilassi, and who is quite headstrong, and the sort of veteran sorcerer, venerated old man Nils are all there. And Nils has been trying to make an absolute case for reclaiming as much of the ore from Lee Glen as they can and taking it back to Holmwood, where his assistant Alf is trying to do some research into how it can be better used at the moment. Do any of the characters have any immediate opinions on this?
I do. Enough. I must speak. We have witnessed terrible losses the last day, and I feel that I do agree to a great extent with the leadership shown here by the Elven Rangers. However, there's a more pressing question, and while I admit that morally I indeed believe that we cannot debase ourselves to use this ore as a weapon, as the cult has been doing, I feel that it is easy for one to say that we may simply overlook this tragedy and refuse to use this ore. And to that my sympathies are indeed with Nils, that we must reclaim this ore and see how we may use it. For us dwarves have seen so much and have lost so much because of this. It may be easy for one to say that the history of this ore, the pain of this ore is only the catastrophe that it brings, but for the dwarves who have been forced to work in these mines for the last decade, this represents much more than just the power that we have seen. This represents generations of loss, generations of our species being poisoned, and generations more that we will have to live with the catastrophe that we've seen. We were promised when the cult first arrived emancipation and power, that this ore was the secret to some technological future. But they never went on to emancipate us or create a society in their own image. Instead, they merely hoarded and monopolized the production of this ore, such that we continued to remain impoverished. And yet, even though I may not have the wisdom and the learnedness of the sorcerers here, I do fear deeply that the sorcerers in Homewood keeping the ore in this manner, telling us that it is unsafe and these must remain secret, merely serves to perpetuate the same inequality, that we are once again denied the very power for which we have lost so much. If we are to continue researching this ore, then I believe all the other races, goblins, dwarves, all of us must be involved, because all of us have lost so much, and all of us deserve knowledge of its safety.
Broldrin claps you on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, you've been reading there, Marx!"
What I lack in my intelligence, I hope I make up for in my decades of wisdom.
Fair enough.
I don't really have an opinion.
It's been a real eventful 5 years under the cult, it really has.
So, your wisdom is then, dwarf, says Nils, that we should open our research to everybody and show what we are doing step by step.
Yes.
I agree with this. But to a certain extent, we must work in isolation. Too many cooks spoil certain broths.
Yes, well, I do not see why dwarven engineers and goblin smiths cannot be part of this research endeavor. It need not be everybody, as long as there are adequate representatives of the most learned and experienced of each race.
And you think goblins are part of that? Learned and experienced. No, that's great. I just know the sort of stereotypes that are around goblins.
I mean, it was only until the more recent, the 5th edition of the history books that the
Yeah.
men have, that we barbarians were seen as anything other than savages who could not speak common.
Yeah, that's true.
Great D&D joke. Well, that was one for the nerds. Great. So Nils nods and goes, "This can be arranged. So far, my assistant Alf is the only one who is working on this research, but when we return to Homewood, I am quite happy to show you his workshops."
Thank you, Nils. It is with great faith that I invest my trust in you, lest this history repeat itself. Not as tragedy, but as farce.
Aye, well, we better load up the caravans then, says Broldrin, and moves towards what bricks remain of the ore scattered around the town and lifts them up onto the cart which the council arrived on.
Seems like a job for someone with more than a +0 strength modifier, so...
Don't worry, we've got it.
Hey, buddy, when you were saying a big fusion of all the races, did you happen to leave one out of your list?
Oh, my apologies.
No, it's fine.
I mean, certainly I wish all races to be involved. The only reason I said dwarves and goblins was, well, because, Greaseball, was it?
Yes, that's me.
Was because
We've
Greaseball
been
was standing
travelling for
right
some
in my...
time now. It's great you don't know my name, but...
Was because Greaseball was
He
standing
doesn't know
right
your
in my
name,
line
but at
of
least he
sight.
knows your race.
Yeah,
It's fine, it's easy to overlook the furbolgs. Not many of us left these days.
Oh,
it's because you're too busy vaping.
That's right.
at this point... No, wait. I'll let you do your bit.
Bit concluded.
At this point, a good friend of all of yours, Oh, Blumenek. What is he? He's a dwarf, isn't he? I've completely forgotten. What do you see in play? Help me out. Ham? Human! That's why I've forgotten, because he's a...
Filthy human.
He's a filthy
human.
Oh dear. At this point, your friend Jamon Iberica de Belota, Ham for short, comes crashing back into town square and goes, "Okay, everyone, I don't want anyone to panic. But I've just met some orcs and they want us to fuck off."
Are they sexy?
I wasn't really paying attention to that.
Okay, Ham, quick note, buddy. When you don't want anyone to panic, you don't burst in and talk in a really fast tone.
Well, it's a matter of importance.
Why do the orcs want us to go?
Apparently this is their ancestral home or something, and we've invaded it.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah. So I think we should get going. That's my Ian impression, everybody.
We don't wish to alienate any more people from the fruit of their labor.
It's all right. Can I get perception checks from everybody?
Absolutely.
1.
I actually got a 1.
Oh, a natural one.
That is a big fat 7.
22.
22.
There we
Thank
go.
God for Greaseball.
Somebody's paying attention.
My little goblin eyes.
So Greaseball, as Ham is trying to move everyone else into action, you hear a gruff sort of and the pounding of feet on the distance from the direction that Ham came from. You're aware of the fact that you're about to be ambushed.
Guys, I think we're about to be ambushed, so if we don't want them to get a surprise round in
Oh,
on us, then maybe we should...
Okay, everybody get ready. You have this Shield of Faith.
Oh, thank you!
Okay, that gets you +2 to your AC. So would you like to describe how your Shield of Faith appears around Greaseball?
Yes. So what usually happens with my magic is that my bovine ears start to glow. It's like when you stand in direct sunlight and you can see the cartilage of your ears. It's like that. got my bovine ears, and then I just do a massive exhale, and this gold dust comes out.
It's your vape.
It is my vape.
Don't. do
1
it.
second. Smells like blueberries for some reason.
Delicious.
Everyone roll initiative for me, please. So
Yes.
at this point, we're just trying to determine the order in which people will act.
1.
Oh, babe.
No,
Get you done.
Buy a new dice.
It was 4. It was 4.
Do we get any bonuses on the initiative roll with anything?
Yeah, your dex score.
So Dex +1, so that's 14.
14.
I am also 14.
14.
17.
17. What's your dex score?
12.
And yours is?
12.
Oh, damn. Can you two both roll a d6 for me quickly?
6.
5.
Okay, so Marks goes first.
Okay, do I still have the D6 inspiration?
Although
from
you
the
don't go,
last-
you don't go first. You
first
go
between
before
the two
him.
of us.
Yeah.
Do I still have the D6 inspiration from the last session?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Greaseball, it is only appropriate that you act first.
Okay, do I see anyone yet?
No.
Okay. Do you mind if I hold in which case?
Yeah, you can hold an action.
Yeah.
What would you like to hold?
I'll hold a spell.
Ooh, what are you going to start preparing for us?
I'm going to start preparing calm emotions.
Calm emotions. Well, that's a way to end a combat.
Yeah!
How does that appear to those who are looking at you?
Okay, so I fiddle with my septum piercing for a little bit. And then a grand piano appears.
Are we talking Steinway then?
Yeah, so...
Is it like a comedy full from...
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And are there like loot boxes around it as well?
No, unfortunately. And I've got a little step ladder so that I'm tall enough to play it.
Okay.
And I start doing my little tune.
You start warming up. And do the keys or is it just the music?
No, it's just a grand piano.
Fantastic. Okay.
Is it like lid
stupid,
open
Leo.
and propped
Oh,
up?
yeah,
no.
grand piano.
No
Let's
routine
be
lie
realistic
erotically
here.
on the top, unfortunately.
Okay. We'll try and not talk over to each other. Sorry. Sorry, audience. Marks, it's your turn. Next, you see Greaseball. They fiddle with their septum ring, and then suddenly a piano appears. I don't know if you've seen them do this before.
No. Right, I'm going to possibly just find the nearest platform I can stand up on so I can get a better vantage point, because dwarves don't really have a very distant line of sight given their height.
Sure, you were right next to the caravan helping put bricks in.
Okay, so
it
I'm
would
going to
make
stand
sense-
up on the caravan and defend the caravan should people try and attack it.
Absolutely. Okay, so are you holding an action, or are you just gonna...
How does holding an action work?
So it means that basically you specify a specific thing that you want to do when a trigger happens. So for instance, with Greaseball, they've said that they're going to specify that when the ambush occurs, they're going to cast Calm Emotions.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold a reckless attack to
Sure.
slam down on whoever tries to attack the caravan.
There's some disparity going on.
Using my Warhammer, should they actually choose to attack. I mean, in the event that the Calm Emotions doesn't
Okay,
work.
so in the event that they are hostile,
Yeah.
you're going to use a reckless attack.
Yeah.
And you ready your Warhammer and grip it tighter as you're ready
Yes.
for that. Kidmat, luckily for you, I rolled really poorly, so you get around as well.
Excellent. In that case, I am going to have my ears glow again, and I'm going to exhale the gold dust onto my greatsword, and that is Sacred Weapon.
Okay, Sacred Weapon.
And then I'm going to.
I mean, is that your action? Or is
That's
that
a bonus action.
It's a bonus action.
Oh no, it does say as an action.
I
My
thought
mistake.
I thought so.
I shall just stand ready.
Okay, so you imbue your weapon, your greatsword, with this gold dust that sparkles around it. Woe betide the thing that gets hit by that. At this point, the undergrowth that Ham was running from bursts apart, and this very large... Oh, I'm on the wrong... There we go. This very large, sort of nearly 7 foot black fur all over him, with a huge, great weapon. You can't quite tell if it's an axe or a sword. It certainly has a blade attached to it, and he's got black skin and these horns that curl backwards. It looks like an orc, but it looks like an orc. It's like no orc you've ever seen, and it roars. and comes charging towards you.
Boy.
But we trigger Greaseball's spell.
Yes.
So what is that?
Each humanoid in a 20-foot radius of you makes a charisma save. If failed, you may suppress any effect causing them to be trampled fragmented.
Okay, so it's not within 20 feet of you.
Okay.
Would you like to continue holding it until
I will
it is?
continue holding.
I think that's only fair. I would say that it would probably get an attack off at Kidman.
Yep. Boy, you're tall.
Is this an Uruk-hai then?
You can imagine it as an Uruk-hai, if that helps. Yeah, absolutely, but with less armor. It's more black matted fur rather than armor. So it comes at you with its great sword, and I imagine misses entirely, swooping over your head, and you catch the second attack on your sword, parrying it entirely. Yeah, and then it reaches over and tries to bite you in a very Lurtz the Uruk-hai type of move. As your locked swords, it just goes over its sword for a 22.
That'll do it.
So that will be 8 piercing damage as it grabs onto your shoulder with its teeth. At this point, we're going to do the calm emotion spells. So I roll a charisma saving throw.
Is that each humanoid though? So is that me as well?
You as well.
Yeah.
And it's also you. And also you. I think it's everyone. Everyone rolls. Let's just all roll a charisma saving throw.
Alas, I think
11.
I played this, so I'm still depressed.
No.
4.
4, 11 will fail.
21.
21 will pass. And I rolled a 2.
Okay.
So I fail. So does the spell have any visual effect as it releases, or is it just the calming music?
No, you just stop dead and...
Yeah, so the thing bites into your shoulder and then just begins to sort of drool.
But just still latched into my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Look, I
It's
can
just
only do
there.
so much.
It's just sort of gumming on your shoulder, just gnawing gently. Like.
You know, if it wasn't for your spell, I'd be mad about this.
Does that have any effect on our barbarian as well?
I mean, presumably if it's calming emotions, then I'm no longer going to make a reckless attack. I think it'll just stop me from executing the hold action. So I think that's the effect it'll have on me.
Okay, everything is calm.
There we go.
Good job, Greaseball. What would... I mean, technically, it's Locke's turn.
He's just still writing some quite depressing poetry in one corner.
Great. Have you got any political philosophy for us to have a go at Marx with?
Oh no, it's not good.
We've got Marx and Locke here.
I know! It's a surprise that it took this long for this joke to come out.
We'll get back to you when I've researched who Locke actually was. I just know him as the character from Lost. So.
Fair enough. Who was named after the philosopher.
Yeah, I know.
So, Greaseball, what would you like to do immediately after your calm emotion spell fires?
Good question. I would like to charm person.
Ooh, on the orc.
Yes.
Okay, that's another charisma saving throw for me, right?
It just says attempt to make someone your
Yeah,
friend,
I think-
so I
I think
assume so.
3.
Hey, buddy.
And it stops gumming on Kid Matt's shoulder and then looks up and goes,
Now, why are we so angry? Eh?
You know that orcs do talk?
But not this one.
Do you speak Abyssal?
No!
No. Okay. So this one begins saying words to you, but you can't quite... Does anyone speak Abyssal? Locke might.
Infernal.
Infernal. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
That's the difference between devils and demons there.
Not a funny joke, is it?
No, it's just a fact.
Where does it say what languages you speak?
Second
It
page.
should be on the second page there. I imagine you have common and dwarvish.
Yeah, you are.
Being a
Oh,
barbarian.
right. Okay, yeah. Languages, yeah.
So it starts talking to you and goes, and it's like referencing its fur. Roll a performance check to see how well.
That's a 28.
How is that mathematically possible?
I rolled a 19. I have +1.
Anything's mathematically possible if you just believe.
Yeah. Also, if you don't roll ones.
Yeah.
True. Well,
I'm on your side.
I rolled a 4, so there we are. So it's just talking away. Does anybody...
I glance at my other allies who are NPCs like, anybody know what we're...
And they also... Nobody knows this. And, like, Nils is there, like, trying to lean in, trying to look like he knows what's going on.
Ah, jeez. That sounds like the language of the evil. Okay, here we go.
Are you going to attack it?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Markson, actually, you get to act first, just before Kidmet. So would you like to just... are you going to re-escalate the situation like Kidmet is, or...?
No, I'm not going to escalate. I'm just going to be more defensive than aggressive because I think it makes sense and my emotions are being calmed that I'm no longer trying for a reckless attack.
Okay, so mechanically what you can do is have this defensive stance. You can say the dodge action, which means that I will have to roll with disadvantage on you.
Okay, so that's what I'll do then.
So you just hunker down into a more defensive stance, but your guard is still up. And Kidmat, you're going to attack the now friendly.
Yes, of course I am. Random question before we begin. Is this a fiend?
It is a fiend.
Excellent. 1 extra d8 on the Divine Smite. Shall we go now? And I'm adding +9 to the attack roll. Cool. Yeah, that's a 24.
Oh yeah, that hits.
24, that's... Reroll with 2. That is... that's 11 slashing damage.
Uh-huh. This is the fun maths bit.
This is the fun maths bit. 7...
14.
15 radiant.
7, 7, and a 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, would you like to narrate this for us? You do 26 points of damage. It's quite a deep cut in it.
I'm going to find a similar place to where he dug into me in the bite. Just go like, ah!
How'd you like that?
How'd you like that, buddy? Now I'm going to take your spine out your body.
Lovely. Good morning. So you can see the gold sparks that are moving around your blade sort of cut into it even deeper as your divine smite hits.
Let's see how low we can go, and I hit him again.
He roars back in your face, and Greaseball, you can feel that the charm person has just been negated.
Yeah, that happens when,
Yeah.
Will a 17 hit?
It will hit.
Right. Just checking.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Close the piano lid.
Oh, god damn it. Only a humble 5 in the slashing damage.
Okay, 5 slashing damage.
12 radiant damage.
12 radiant damage. So you're just hacking open this thing's shoulder, and you can begin to see its clavicle as you're pulling apart the muscle, bleeding all over you. Can I get a perception check?
Perception check. 16.
16. As its blood starts to spurt out onto you, which you're not unaccustomed with,
No.
you can see that the regular sort of dark red of orcish blood is tinged with almost a blue or a purple.
Oh.
There's one for the law in the room when they've been fighting the aberrations that the cult had control over. Their blood was all purple, so that's where the link is. Cool. That leads us to Locke's turn. No, it doesn't. It leads us to my turn. Sorry. Yeah. My bad.
Eat this daffodil.
19 and 20.
Both hit.
Both hit. And the bite is 18.
Also hits.
So it comes at you with its great sword axe thing and just starts hacking at your side for 22 damage.
Yep.
And at that point, it comes around and bites you in the side as well. It's just going all out, tearing its serrated blade.
Is it
across your
22
flesh.
total?
No.
Not including the bite. Yeah.
It's
not
30.
finished.
It's 30 total.
30 total.
So 22 from the slashing, and 8 for the piercing.
Joke's on you, I'm still up.
Same.
Look, you get a turn, and then something happens.
I cast Dissonant Whispers on this.
Would you like to narrate that for us?
I'm scribbling down a poem about the rain. This noise is really ticking him off.
Can we get a couplet?
Why does it always rain on me?
Is it because as a minor I was convicted of perjury?
I look up with a kind of rage flashing in my eyes. My eyes go black, and everyone hears a little bit of whisper but just in his head, it feels like it's screaming.
Sure. And the orc rears his head back and roars to the sky. This red, overcast with dark clouds sky. And I fail my wisdom saving throws, so you may do all of your damage.
And the other effect as well. So that is 10, 16, 19 damage. And he runs away from me, giving someone
an attack of opportunity.
Yay!
Roll it.
Yay!
So the orc turns tail and tries to flee, and this showing Kidmat its back, and this gives Kidmat a moment to lash out of turn. You were supposed to be doing the rolling under all of that.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's fine, because I only rolled 11.
Okay, well, you miss. So Kidmat
But it was a lovely idea.
just grazes the back of the fur, cutting a little of it off as the orc moves too quickly for it. At which point, it's heading back towards the hedges it came out of, and more orcs. These ones much more regular in appearance, so grey, greeny skin, no horns, no black matted fur, but they are there ready for combat, burst out of the hedge, and one of them rugby tackles the big one, just bringing it to the ground, and tries to put its hand over its mouth. You can see it's trying to apply something. Can I get perception checks?
13.
13,
9.
14.
9. Wait, what's the
9.
bonus on perception?
That's another 22.
Wisdom. 10.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh wait, no, that's a 6, not a 9. I've missed the dot. 7.
So 7. Okay, fine. In which case, you're still worried about being defensive. Locke and Kidmat, you see what I've described already, and the orc that tackled it is trying to do something with the big orc's face. Greaseball, you see everything.
Yeah.
You see the orc, as he's sprinting, pull what looks like a specialised muzzle and sort of handcuff combination out of its belt.
Been there.
Yeah, right. Tackles the thing. I haven't. Tackles the big orc to the... It's fine. Tackles the big orc to the ground and starts applying this muzzle over the thing's face. At which point, one of the orcs, she hasn't drawn her weapon yet. She's got her shield ready, but she hasn't drawn her weapon yet, and she goes, "Stop, please! Let us talk!" At which point it's Greaseball's turn.
I stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
Does everybody agree to stop? I'm just doing this for the sake of Kidmat and Locke, because these two seem to be quite aggressive this morning.
Yes. Well, I just need to take a breather for a second. I'm just gonna just lay on hands.
Okay,
Lay
cool.
on some hands.
So,
What I'll do is I'll just sort of get down from the caravan and go next to where they're trying to restrain the orc to lend assistance if required.
okay, excellent. Gives advantage to that. It's quite a difficult job. Really struggling to get the muzzle on over the thing's mouth. Locke?
Yeah, I'm pretty chill.
Alright, cool.
Just gonna heal back up here.
Yes, so Kidmat passes his hands over the wound on his shoulder, and this gold sparks come out and knit the wound back up. The orc who shouted to you raises her hand once again and goes, "My name is Kesh. I am sorry that our friend attacked you. It was Our fault. He got away. What are you doing here? I thought this place was abandoned.
We're just in the process of abandoning it once again, don't worry.
I can see you're taking some ore with you. Do you know much about the ore?
We intend to find out.
Do you?
Yes.
We'll have a look at some of this purple blood.
Roll a nature check.
19.
19. It really, like, you get the same smell in your bovine nostrils, your magic-infused bovine nostrils, that it is ore-infused. That it is the same sort of evil transformation that you've seen on the Grus and the Manglers and the Hulk. Not the Incredible Hulk, different Hulk. Yeah, it sort of sends a shiver down your spine as you remember all that you've done over the last week. Oh. If you intend to find out what is happening with this ore, then I make a request. Take us with you. Back to wherever you are going. Please.
What reason have we got to trust you?
We have just stopped our friend from rampaging through your weak-looking sorcerers.
Well, actually, if you'd given me a couple more seconds, I think I could have handled it myself.
Don't lie.
Your brutality is well noted. It has been noted for decades. I'm sorry. I am asking of you a favor, and then I will try and remain calm. We are not with the other orcs. You're aware of them?
I think one of us had an encounter with them. Ham, I believe.
Well, you are in danger. Suzma and her crew are on their way to reclaim these lands. We had sought to hide from them here, but we hid from you when we saw you were here. And no doubt you will have brought Suzma our way with your ridiculous explosion. Very careless of you. So I ask again, will you take us with you? If you are researching into this ore, I hope you will find a way to turn Tanner back to his former self.
I believe you and I are of the same mind, and I turn to Nils and say, Nils, I stand by what I said previously. If the orcs have been so affected, if the orcs have been as exploited by the cult as we have, I believe that we need orcs involved in this as well, for the sake of themselves and for the sake of a greater alliance.
I agree with what he said, but don't take my word for it. I've lost a lot of blood.
Yeah, your arm was coming off at one point. It was a bit...
I have no opinion on this.
Your logic is undeniable. But we have not seen any orcs since the calamity. Since the Elder God rent our reality. We had assumed they all died fighting. He throws his eyes at Kesh with that last word, and Kesh goes, we were in hiding. Many of us succumbed to the cult's ways, but not the cult themselves. They have, you see, been called by their god. Called to what they think a higher purpose. The rest of us who disagreed were enslaved and forced to mine the ore. And exposure to it has led to poor Tanner here. There are others, but Tanner is the only one I could break out.
I can see that the cult has drowned the most heavenly of ecstasies of religious fervor into such horrendous atrocity. They have substituted their most naked and shameless exploitation of the people with one that is garbed as progress and enlightenment. I believe that we would need more allies in our fight, Nils. I believe that the orcs coming out of their hiding will be valuable to us.
Understand, dwarf. This alliance is short. These are still our ancestral lands, and ever since before the calamity, you had taken them from us.
Wait, sorry, was this the dwarf talking?
That was the orc, sorry.
That was the orc.
The dwarves have a terrible Scottish accent.
Fantasy.
Fantasy Scottish accent.
Certainly, I defer to your judgment on the matters of the land. But the immediate question for us now is to take the fight to the cult, and how we do so. So I agree that we may have an alliance of convenience, but it must be an alliance that we can trust nevertheless.
Yes, well, we are no friends of the cult. An old orc adage, the enemy of my enemy must also die. But first we kill the other enemy.
Well, we have an old goblin adage of workers of all races uniting, as we have nothing to lose but our chains, and ours is the world to take.
I like that one. That a little bit of my hair stood up a bit. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know any Furbolg sayings, sorry.
Moo.
Oh!
I love you. I'm sorry. I go and stand on the opposite side of the group.
Probably wise.
Wait, what's your beef with all this?
I don't like you guys
Stop
anymore.
milking it from the audience. Look,
I don't like you guys anymore.
I feel a little bit on the back hoof with these puns. Can we move on?
Moving on.
Are you alright, Chaz?
Chaz is fine. I think you've got another heel turn on your hands.
Holy cow, this has gotten out of hand.
I'm
Right.
feeling a bit under the weather.
Okay. Anyone else?
10 minutes later.
10 minutes later, just,
Okay, we've had
just Kid Matt sat on a stump.
We've had lots of tragedies. It's nice to have a little bit of comic relief just now.
While these puns are being said, the orc that Kesh has referred to as Tanner has been stood up, their hands bound, their mouth muzzled now, and they're growling. They're trying to bite the person that's actually wrapped them up like this, as the person then casts their hand over Tanner's forehead and puts them to sleep. Not as in makes them sleep. They're asleep now. There we are.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's all these animal jokes. I know.
Yeah.
Right, Kesh goes. No matter what the problem, no matter what your decision, you need to make it fast. Suzma will be here within minutes.
I have no problem with big sexy orcs, so let's just put that on the table.
I too have no problem with big, sexy orcs.
I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm sure if it was other circumstances, I would take the compliment.
Hey there, Greaseball. Do you need some water? You sound thirsty.
Yeah, come with us.
No,
We'll discuss this later. Let's all go.
Okay. As you turn and... the caravan is not ready yet. So people are chipping in, the dwarfs, putting all of the ore onto the caravan that they can. Can I get perception checks once again from everybody? This
have a
can
bad
only
feeling
mean
about
a bad
this.
thing, yeah, exactly.
Natural 20.
Natural 1!
Well,
Ha
Marks, you've turned and helped your comrades
Yeah.
put the ore onto the caravan.
13.
13.
Also 13.
13. You two sort of get a feeling that you're being watched, but it is Kidmat who sees... Well, actually, you smell them first. The wind changes, and a large... a ripple goes down your back as something inside you, something instinctual and ancestral, sort of stirs and goes, there is danger here. And as you turn to look at the horizon, the hill which you came down initially, your way out of Leaglen to back towards Goldcrest and Holmwood, just a line of bodies on the horizon. Each of them holding weapons, some of them on very large, evil, foul-looking wolves.
Numbers.
Roll a quick perception check for that. Oh, you got a natural 20, to be fair. I'm going to say there's nearly 100 of them. You are far outnumbered. There's about a dozen of you here and 100 of them that you can see.
We need to go.
Well, what's happening?
We need to go right now. Don't make me pick you up and put you on my back. Go.
Which way are you going? They're on the road out of town.
Is it the only road out of town?
Well, the rest of it was mined and torn up for ravines. Do you remember?
So the
Yesterday, you found the map.
The mine.
You found the map, which
It's
is
the mine, isn't it?
Well,
It's the. No, don't fob me off, Leo. It's the mine, isn't it?
and as Kid Matt is having these strange desires to escape down a mine, you watch 3 of the riders mount up and start pacing down the hill towards you.
I have a longbow.
You do have a longbow. Are you just going to shoot them off the
No,
off
they
the
want to
cuff?
talk. They want to talk.
Okay, but I'm gonna hold.
You're
I'm
going to
gonna
hold your
that.
longbow. So you ready your arrow as these warg riders come straight down the hill and stop maybe 120 feet away. One of you, the middle one sort of dismounts. She lands down, covered in this plate armor and a large axe in her hand. And she steps forward and goes, I am Suzma, and these are my lands. And that is where we're going to have to end this hour of Adventurers Wanted.
Cliffhanger.
Thank you very much for coming. If you did enjoy the show, please do spread word of it on your social medias and indeed face-to-face. People still do that. We're on Twitter at Adventurers250. This whole time, Naomi has been live tweeting from the back there. And I forgot to introduce you at the top, didn't I? My bad. Sorry.
A mystery laptop user in the corner.
Everywhere else online, Facebook, Instagram, we're Adventurers Wanted. We've also been live streaming this on twitch.tv Adventurers Wanted. Hello, Twitch stream. So if you can't come back for any reason throughout the Fringe, then you can catch up with us there. However, this was the 33rd hour, which means there are 67 hours of this left. So do feel free to pop back. You can also come up on stage and play with us, as Vivek and Harley have done here. So do inquire at the Sweet Box office for that, although those tickets are limited availability. So do that quickly. If you're umming and ahhing, I would say go for it. We do try and introduce this hobby to as many people as possible, and we try and be as inclusive as possible. I know that there is sometimes a certain stereotype about the type of people who play D&D. We want to try and break that. If you are watching on Twitch, there is, of course, the Patreon and a donate button on our website. We do this every month in London, as well as arrange free play events to try and bring the hobby to a wider audience. All that remains for me to do is two things. Firstly, we're going to throw over to our wonderful players to give them a quick opportunity to plug something that they have either seen or been involved in the Fringe. So, Chaz?
Yes, so I'm involved in a couple of things at the Fringe. One of them is the thing I'm running off to do now. It's at 12:25 every day at the Pleasance Dome. It's called Courtroom Play, a courtroom play. It's a very silly, very fun show. The best way to describe it is it's like Legally Blonde meets Hot Fuzz. In tone, but there's a whole cast of amazing comedians in it, and somebody was dumb enough to put me in the cast as well. But it's a really fun play. You'll enjoy that. I'm also in a sketch comedy double act. We're called Dirty White Boys. Our show's called Manners. It's just an hour of sketches. You know, just big, broad, silly sketches. We just got a 4-star review the other day, so people seem to be enjoying it. We are on at Just a Tonic at the Caves at 10:10 every night. This one's a pay what you want show, which means it's free to get in. So it'll be lovely to have you there. Also, I think we have press in tonight. So,
James?
I'm doing a kids show, so I'm not going to talk about that. I am doing unless any kids. No, okay. I'm doing another show as well, in which we have taken our 2 favourite films, Beauty and the Beast from Disney and Fight Club, and combined them into one show, which is as bizarre as it sounds. So if you want to come and see Beast Club, please do. It's going to be mental.
You might have seen my friend just fling a flyer at me from the audience. We're doing Macbeth. It's at the Space on Northbridge at 5:05. Only today and tomorrow left. It's female-led, so there's a female Macbeth and a male Lady Macbeth. It's a lot of fun. There's some dancing, there's some murder, there's us getting drunk on stage. But not really, because I'm irresponsible. So do come along, it's a lot of fun. Thanks.
Right, so I was going to plug one of the most fun things I've done at the Fringe ever in however many years I'm here, but you're already here, so I'm just going to plug a few non-Fringe related things instead. So I'm a member of GEAS, the Grand Edinburgh Venturing Society, who are the Edinburgh University Role-Playing Game Society. They're a fantastic group. Look them up. They're on Facebook. They do role-playing game events all around the year. They also organize Compulsion, which is Scotland's largest gaming convention. And my more mundane day job is I'm a PhD student in English literature, and one of the things I'm currently experimenting with is using tabletop role-playing games as a way of disseminating some of the findings from my research. If you want to know more about that, just follow me on Twitter. It's at Vivek Santayana. You can probably find me through the Adventures 250 Twitter handle when they've tagged me on stuff. Yeah. For example, like some of the stuff I was talking about earlier today, you can read up Gabriel Hecht's Being Nuclear, which talks about the politics of mining for uranium in South Africa, which I was drawing on for my character today. So, see what I did there? Anyway, so that's all I've got to plug.
Vivek's done the most reading to prepare for this game of any of us.
I mean, I just wrote a chapter on that, so it's quite current in my mind.
Okay, well, all that remains for me to do is to call for a round of applause for Tommy, our wonderful DSL interpreter. And, of course, to our players. Thank you very much, everyone. We do have a quick 10-minute turnaround, so if you could leave.